Welcome back to Passport to Possibility. If you've been watching our recent videos on African citizenship, you'll know we're very interested in the new wave of opportunities emerging across the continent. And as we're filming this, there's a major new development. China has just announced that from May 1st, 2026, it will apply zero tariff treatment to imports from 53 African countries it has diplomatic relations with. That's a big shift for anyone thinking about building export-focused businesses in Africa. One of the most intriguing plays in this new context is Sierra Leone, because it's not just about a passport, it's about heritage, gold, ECOWAS access, and now potentially better trade access into the Chinese market. I'm Kevin, this is Passport to Possibility with Jennifer Marlin, and today Jennifer and I are going to unpack what Sierra Leone is really offering, who it's for, and how it fits into a broader Africa strategy. Let's get into it. Jennifer, let's start at the top. When people hear Sierra Leone citizenship, what is actually on the table? Is this a classic Caribbean-style citizenship by investment program, or is it something different?
It's different. Sierra Leone is blending two ideas. There's a heritage naturalization pathway, a right of return concept for people of African descent, and an investment-linked fast-track naturalization route where significant approved investments can support a discretionary grant of citizenship. It's closer to a citizenship by exception model than a classic Caribbean citizenship by investment with fixed published pricing, and it fits inside a bigger regional context because Sierra Leone is part of ECOWAS, the West African Economic Community.
Right, so it's part heritage, part investment, and very much a fast-track naturalization framework inside ECOWAS rather than a simple copy and paste of a Caribbean citizenship by investment with a menu of fixed donation prices. Okay. The title of this video is Going for Gold, and that isn't just clickbait. Can you explain the heritage angle and why gold matters here?
So Sierra Leone has been working with the African diaspora organizations for years on a right of return concept, recognizing the historical connection between West Africa and descendants of enslaved Africans in the Americas and elsewhere. And that's the heritage side. The gold angle is both literal and symbolic. Sierra Leone is rich in gold and other minerals, and the expedited naturalization route is often linked to investments that support mining, processing, infrastructure, or related services. So you have this dual story reconnecting with ancestral roots and building real on-the-ground businesses in a gold-rich, resource-rich West African country.
So for some people, this is about identity and roots. And for others, it's about building serious business in a gold-rich jurisdiction, and in many cases, both at the same time. Let's get practical. How does this investment-linked citizenship route actually work in Sierra Leone? What are people being asked to do in exchange for this fast track?
The structure that we're helping more and more clients with is the fast-track naturalization route, where qualified investors make approved investment and can be considered for citizenship within roughly 90 days. It's more discretionary citizenship in the national interest framework. So the idea is that your investments support key sectors like mining, services, processing plants, logistics, agriculture, or tourism, rather than just going into a generic fund. So the fast-track citizenship route provides foreign nationals with a streamlined pathway to Sierra Leone citizenship in approximately 90 days, offering an efficient and cost-effective solution to securing legal status and a passport. The program often includes a complementary company incorporation in Sierra Leone with a corporate bank account. So instead of following a long residence track, you may be naturalized by exception if the authorities see your contribution as being in the national interest. And because this sits with ECOWAS, that one decision doesn't just give you rights in Sierra Leone, it can also be your gateway into wider regional market. Regional
markets.
Yeah.
Right, so you're essentially trading a substantial targeted investment for an accelerated naturalization decision. And because Sierra Leone is in ECOWAS, that citizenship can position you inside a much larger West African market than just one country on its own. So what does the Sierra Leone passport actually offer in terms of travel and regional benefits?
Sierra Leone Citizenship gives you access to ECOWAS, the Economic Community of Western African States, which is a regional bloc of 15 countries and over 400 million people. As an ECOWAS citizen, you benefit from the regional protocol on free movement, which is designed to allow you to live, work, and establish business across member states, such as Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, and others, subject to local registration and compliance. For someone who's serious about West Africa, that's the real value. Instead of being confined to just one jurisdiction, you're positioning yourself inside a wider economic space with shared frameworks for movement, trade, and in some cases tax or customs advantages. So in practical terms, a Sierra Leone passport is not going to replace a high mobility Caribbean or EU passport for intercontinental travel, but it can be a powerful regional tool if your focus is on West African markets and ECOWAS integration.
Right, so think of Sierra Leone less as a pure travel passport and more as an ECOWAS and West Africa play. You're buying into a 15-country regional space with hundreds of millions of people, not just one national market. It's a good fit if you care about accessing that block, but it's not a substitute for a classic high mobility passport. So we're filming this right after China confirmed it will grant zero-tariff access to imports from 53 African countries starting in May 2026. How does a move like that change the business logic for someone looking at Sierra Leone and ECOWAS?
It's an important development if you hold citizenship in a country that's part of ECOWAS and also covered by China's zero-tariff regime. You're not just playing in a 15-country West African space, you're also potentially better positioned to ship products into one of the world's largest consumer markets without facing the same tariff barriers. So for investors who are thinking about building businesses around the globe, value chains, agriculture, light manufacturing, or processing, the combination of ECOWAS free movement and improved access to China can make West Africa significantly more attractive over the next decade. It doesn't remove all practical challenges. Quality standards, logistics, and compliance still matter, but it does upgrade the strategic case for using an ECOWAS citizenship as a base for export-oriented ventures.
So the headline is Sierra Leone plus ECOWAS plugs you directly into West Africa and business there, with China dropping tariffs for 53 African partners from 2026. That same platform now is a more direct line into a huge external market as well, if you can execute. Now, given all that, who do you see as the right fit for this kind of opportunity? Because it clearly isn't for everyone.
I see three main groups. First, members of the African diaspora who feel a strong pull to reconnect with West Africa and want more than a symbolic gesture. They want citizenship, land, a stake in the local economy. And second, entrepreneurs and investors who generally want to build companies in mining adjacent sectors, agriculture, logistics, or tourism in West Africa and see Sierra Leone as a gateway to ECOWAS. And third, globally mobile families who already have one or two passports and now want a strategic presence in an emerging region. And it's not ideal for someone whose only goal is a cheap, fast travel document. For that, there's Caribbean or European options that may be better. And Sierra Leone is more of a mission-driven or strategic choice, especially for people who want to engage with ECOWAS in West Africa rather than a first-step passport for everyone.
Right, so it's best for people who already feel a strong pull to a region, heritage or business, and who actually want to plug into ECOWAS, not for someone hunting the cheapest way to get more Schengen stamps. Let's talk about realities. What are the main risks or hard truths someone needs to hear and accept before they go down this path?
First, program maturity. This is not a decades-old system with a long paper trail like St. Kitts or Dominica. Processes can evolve, document requirements can change, and timelines can move. You have to be comfortable with a bit of ambiguity. And second is operating risks. Sierra Leone is a frontier market. Infrastructure, bureaucracy, and rule of law are improved, but still developing. So if you're starting a business there, you need resilience, local partners, and realistic expectations. And third would be passport utility. If your primary goal is visa-free access to Europe or North America, this is not the tool. It's a regional access and business building tool. And fourth, maybe the reputation and compliance. Because this is a fast-track route, you want to be absolutely sure you're working through legitimate channels. I myself am an authorized agent with proper government connections, and that it's not a backdoor arrangement that could be challenged later.
Right, so this is for grown-ups. You have to be UK with a newer framework, on-the-ground complexity, and a passport that's valuable for the region you're targeting, not a magic key for everywhere else. Right. Zooming out, how would you fit Sierra Leone into a broader Africa strategy, especially when you're also talking about places such as Botswana, Sao Tome and Principe, and potentially others?
I'd look at Sierra Leone as a West African operating base with ECOWAS access. If you combine that with something like Botswana, which is a Southern African governance-driven play, and Sao Tome, an island with very fast processing and an emerging citizenship by investment program, you're effectively triangulating different parts of the continent for different purposes. So layer on top of that a Caribbean passport for global mobility and perhaps an EU ancestry route for Europe, and you end up with a genuinely diversified citizenship and residency portfolio. So each piece does a different job, whether that's Caribbean for mobility and safety, EU for deeper rights in Europe, Sierra Leone for ECOWAS for West African growth, Botswana for Southern Africa, and Sao Tome as a nimble, affordable island anchor.
Right, so you're not saying swap everything for Sierra Leone, you're saying use Sierra Leone as one piece of a multi-jurisdiction plan, especially if West Africa and ECOWAS are part of that, of your long-term story. For someone watching this and thinking, this sounds like me, I've got a heritage or business angle and I'm genuinely interested in West Africa, what would their first step be?
I think the first step would be to be clear on your why. Is this primarily about reconnecting with roots, about building a business in a gold-rich growth market country, or is this about diversifying your citizenships? And this will shape the structure. And as always, speak with advisors such as J.H. Marlin, who can bridge local reality and international standards, and people have extensive experience in the citizenship world. And finally, plan this as part of a portfolio. If you don't yet have a mobility passport or a safe haven base, you may want to prioritize those in the Caribbean or EU ancestry before or alongside. And Sierra Leone, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket in a frontier market basket.
Right, so have clarity of purpose, talk to a citizenship expert such as yourself, and make sure Sierra Leone sits alongside, not instead of, your other citizenship and residency anchors. Sierra Leone's going for gold opportunity sits at the intersection of heritage, resources, and regional access. It's not the right starting point for everyone, but for the right person or family, it can be a powerful way to combine identity, business, and ECOWAS level reach. If this sounds like it might fit your story, and you want to explore how Sierra Leone could sit alongside Caribbean citizenship, Sao Tome and Principe, Botswana, or EU ancestry routes, you'll find Jennifer's contact details in the description. This has been Passport to Possibility. Make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into emerging citizenship and residency options, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye for now.